Ladies and gentlemen, of course, welcome back to the game. We are going to be hopping into this one straight off the bat. The days of feeling, they are over, and we get to see some Counter-Strike take place.
Yeah, so finally the knife round coming up. After that slight delay, obviously tech issues do happen, so getting to the knife round, winner of this, potentially going to pick CT, probably going to pick CT, and yesterday we saw VwS win the knife, and they did so well on the CT side, 12-3 half, but this time, it's RoX to start CT.
Looking to see if they can build things up on that CT side and almost kind of do what their opposition yesterday were able to bring to the table. So certainly excited to see what can be done in that regard. What scoreline would you say would be the the de facto standard? What do we want to see on it?
6-9. 6-9 is really average, but I think right now this puts so much pressure onto the VwS, the far more inexperienced side. This puts a lot of pressure on them to start on the T side. They need that T pistol and they need to get the momentum going, because if RoX get the pistol, they start getting those rounds. They win the first buy round as well. Goes to 5-0 potentially. I think that could change everything.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like you guys get to see the wonderful Russian analyst desk, because we've gone directly back to them just to kind of while they chat through the knife round as well. So you guys can stare at their beautiful faces, and we will be getting hopefully into this one without any too long of pauses. Fingers crossed.
Always feel like another delay. I want to watch some CS, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel like I don't want to trip over myself too hard, so I'm just gonna sit here, cross my fingers, do everything we can, and hope for the best at the end of the day. I think, you're certainly right on the scoreline side of things. I'm excited to see, what can be done from the rest of the lineup in terms of, pistol rounds, because you can actually be relatively creative.
Yeah, especially on overpass as well. Depending on what style of pistol you do want. God, it's so weird talking, seeing other people's mouth moves. Anyway, other people's mouths move. Anyway, depending on what style of pistol you want to do, if you want to play aggressive, defensive, play more standard, I mean, so many different ways to do it. If you want to play aggressive, have those 3 players push B short on the B site, and then have the 2 A players push connector. If there's no one connector, there's no one B short, they're going to be going A, especially if you don't hear anyone monster as well. So I do like that pistol. Another more of a passive setup as well. If you do have a kit on A, is play 2 A on the site and have the boost hell to watch that B site if they do push in. So don't have players play on the B site. Instead, buy the kit and play the retake that way. Have another player graffiti as well. Play it for the retake, or depends how they want to play it. If they want to get the early frags, early map pressure, or play for the retake.
Now, what I've just pulled like that is, it comes a lot down to almost coordination as a team. And are you going to, be expecting too much? We talked pretty heavily yesterday, with some of these teams in these groups and saying, they don't necessarily have too much. But I look at these lineups, and of course we know we have the experience side of things, and then the cross comparison. Not necessarily the same affair with that mega experience from tier 1 teams per se, but we still have a good chunk there. So would you say coordination is something we should just, by de facto standard, expect from these guys?
I would say for VwS, as I mentioned before, domestically they've played together a lot, so they're probably going to have more chemistry than RoX, as they are recently formed. Obviously, Hooch and Spares are being removed at Gambit only about a month ago, so in terms of chemistry and whatnot, I expect to see RoX, the CT sides, play more aggressive.
It looks like we are going to be straight into this one now, as it is going to be that pistol round, and whilst not, take it away.
Already the first frag for Kivik. He does get the first frag out of Monster now. Tough towards Graffiti. Can he stop this attack onto A? Can he try and take one player out, make the retake a little bit easier? But it's actually Spares to get that early frag actually. 1 versus 1. 4 versus 4 now. So, down on the site. Can he get some more frags? Try and get some entries to stop this retake happening.
It's in such a tough spot though, but he's just going to be dancing on around the place. Fires off, looking for that frag on towards Monster, not quite able to connect, and Hooch will punish him, but it's going to be a bit of a back and forth away. But the T side, they're coming up trumps in every single direction. A quick 3 and make that 4 frags for them. And actually doing so much work with that Glock close range.
So, I mentioned how important it was for the T's to get the pistol and to get the momentum going. You see how happy that player is to the left of the IGL there. Not really too sure on the name, but he is pumping. He's trying to get that momentum going, try and get the early rounds in his favor, and that's what you want on the T side. I mentioned as well before that RoX, they play quite individualistic, and you saw that little by himself outside Monster just dies by himself and completely opens up the site. I mean, the early frag came from Spades as well. It was the 4 versus 4, but the frags, though, they just kept going in favor of VwS. And actually as well, you see the bomb being dropped off outside top of connector stairs, so they are going to go for a passive default. That's what you want versus these pistols. Don't give away the early frag. Play nice and safe. Just allow the pistols to walk into you.
It almost just comes down to being patient at the end of the day. Is, really what it seems it is looking like Toff is going to go for the push from the upper side of connector, and well, the push, it does happen. His death, well, comes hand in hand.
Yes, it does. So, already the early frag for Toff, he does fall, so Going to see the one-man lead in VwS, and they get the frag towards mid, and they know that the CT defense shall be split 2-2 as the setup is now. 2 players on each side, so that's going to group as a 5 and then head towards Monster. Smart call. Obviously, you see that player held now going towards A, so it's only going to be 1 player towards B.
There's a lot of pent-up aggression coming in from this T side as they look to just pretty much bundle out from but one direction. Actually going to be the man to lead the charge. Looks at the frag on towards Nickelback, finds it with various ease. And this alone is just really setting this one up to be a bit of a difficult one for the CT side now to have too much of an impact. Of course, they have got Hooch on that scout, which could look for a couple of tags here and there, but it's still just so difficult, even with the angle that he can hold.
It's not just that as well. They do have no kit as well, so I expected them to save it. Good call. You're gonna get the money anyway, even if you lose the round. So even if you stay alive and lose the round, so it doesn't really matter too much. Just gonna save the guns they have that scout save. Try and get some early taggings into the next round, and maybe try and win around that way. Try and have the first frag go in your favor, but regardless, it seems like it's going to be going in favor of VwS again. 2-0 lead, and they can win this first rifle round. That's going to be so important for them and their momentum going to the half. If they can make this a 5-0 lead on the T side, we could be seeing a repeat.
Oh, you mentioned 2 things specifically that I want to drill into, and it was both that picking power and also that first buy round, which of course is going to be inevitably very, very important. So would you say that, especially on a map like overpass, getting that first pick is going to be pivotal?
Especially if you are the T side, because setups are generally 2-3, 2 towards A, 3 towards B. If you get 1 kill towards A, that's going to pull the rotation from B, make it a 2-2 setup on both sides. And if you are the 5 people alive, you can just go monster, group together, play the trade game. Worst for worst, you're going to be seeing a 3 versus 2. If you do trade out all your players properly, and you play as a team, you play close netted and just trade and revenge your teammates. 3 versus 2, and especially if the bomb does go down as well. I mean, in that retake, it was so hard for the CTs to win that. So yeah, the first frag matters so much for the Ts.
When we talk about first frag, it's going to be the CT side to claim it in this one as they do go aggressive towards long. It is going to be a trade nonetheless to be claimed though, so certainly the T side by all means not have this one just yet. They still have a very, very clear-cut advantage. But hey, damage is damage, right?
Yeah, it is. But the bomb does go down as well. It will probably go down in this round as well. It's gone down in the previous one, so their money for the Ts is going to be looking pretty solid. So I mentioned that the first buy round is going to be really important for the Ts, but even if they lose it, they will still be able to buy potentially, so it's not the end of the world for them. Actually, if they do reset the CT economy there, we could be seeing 6-1 already or something like that crazy. So winning the T pistol is so important because it makes sure that you have control of the CT economy and you know what to expect.
It's all about creating pacing, or pacing should we say, and utilising that to your advantage, as it is going to be a little bit more of a damage factor. It's going to be Spacey with that pistol to tag away on towards Torres. But overall, them holding on towards the site right now. My hope's still not going to be too damn high as they peek towards long. They find themselves a headshot. But LeAGUE finds both.
Yeah, so the T side right now, they might actually expect that the CTs don't have too much utility. Could see a B monster rush, maybe fast control and be short. You know that there's not going to be too many flashes and molotovs as counter grenades against you, so you can play fast. But there is going to be the AWP on the CT side, and I want to see how Little decides to use it. Maybe get aggressive towards connector, try and get that monster peak depending on his spawn. See where he goes.
There's going to be a couple of early flashes here and there, and RoX certainly thinking that they are going to see some monster aggression, but that's actually not going to be the case at all. VwS actually going for a bit of a long base peek. They try and get themselves some information to work with. Of course, it is going to be LeAGUE take that first preemptive peek, and Nakovic with the AWP to be the more longer range positioned man of the lineup. Taurus does hear that step. Now, that's some good information for him to work with because it will prompt off that flash, but him pushing is so risky here because he's basically just pushing straight through a smoke, but he finds the pick.
The thing is, though, the CTs hear all the footsteps, so you already see the rotation coming in. The frag as well makes it the 4 versus 4, but he does fall. Lucky with the refrag, 3 versus 4 now. And this player, Hooch, he's rotated in. I don't think the T's going to be expecting him there, so he needs to find 2 frags if he wants any chance of them winning this round.
It certainly is a bit of a big ask, but for now, it's just this T side creeping step by step out on towards the site, and we need to see something.
The bomb's down.
To hold the bomb. It's going to be down low from behind. It's going to be the flank coming in from Hooch, and 40 seconds on the board. But look at the rest of his team.
He needed to find another frag there. Maybe even let the bomb walk past him and try have the backstep in the retake. It's the 3 versus 4. 3 versus 4 retake. Try and win it that way. But anyway, frag for Nickelback. He does equalize the numbers. 2 versus 2, 30 seconds. And the bomb shall be planted. So no kit on the CT side means they might have to play this quite fast. But the T after plant positions are quite awful. They're playing so close towards the side, and the spray comes up for Torres. Takes that one. Pound as well. Finds the second one. First buy round the first pistol. All the early rounds go in favor of VwS.
Yeah, they get themselves, most importantly, that solid start, right? You talked about that potential to see a scoreline that spirals out of control, the 6-1s, the 7-1s. Getting the first 4 in a row, that's one hell of a way to kick things off.
Yeah, and we saw the early momentum as well for VwS when they were playing previously on overpass yesterday, but they're on the CT side. It's good to see they can bring the same aggression, the same momentum on the 2 side today. Playing versus the potential force buy, but then again, if you're the CTs in this round, you don't want to buy too heavily as you do want to buy into the next round. So no armor on a few of these players. TZ on Hooch and armor for him, so he's just going to try and take a gun out of the hand of one of these Ts and try and stat his pads a little bit, get a few more frags onto his scoreboard, but won't really net him too much.
Unfortunately for RoX, they have pretty much fallen hook, line, and sinker for what is a B push. It's a T side. They're darting all the way over towards A. That bomber's going to go down, and I mean, it's basically, he's got himself that rifle. That's, certainly something. The rest of his team...
Ooh, I do like that bomb timer, actually.
Yeah, it's a pretty damn nice graphic for StarLadder. They do love their graphics. Some good stuff coming out from them. But
that's really nice.
Nonetheless, Spacey got himself that rifle. Is this, something that he wants to be just going straight at the bat and saving? It feels like,
oh yeah,
at the end of the day, it's an added bonus, right? It's just a free rifle if he can get away. He is going to be hunted very much.
It's 3. He's got armor as well. You got to remember, this is a $4,200 investment he's looking at right now, or $3,750. Sorry, as there is no Kevlar helmet. Oh, just falls down like it's nothing.
It's 0 now.
Takes him down. Spares if falls, and 5-0 now. I want to see the buy right now, but we're seeing these beautiful faces.
Gotta love it. You're just gonna embrace it, I think in terms of buy, it should be, something fairly solid. I'm expecting to see,
AWP
of some variety.
For the VwS. I mean, if they go 5 rifles, go fast towards B, the CTs might not have the best utility. Try and play off that. The buy, yeah, 5 rifles, and actually they are, no, not playing fast towards B. Instead, they're going to go more of a default approach. 3 plays towards A, 1 connector, 1 outside monster, and this is the default setup you see on the overpass side in case any of the CTs want to play aggressive. You can take map control nice and easily, and actually Kalinka trying to find the first. Smoke off towards the toilet. That grants no vision and no information for the CT side. And actually, these players are stuck in connector, so weak hold on the B site. But the thing is, though, VwS are walking into connector.
They're walking into such a tough spot, and it's going to be a bit of a 1-for-1 trade that lucky you're going to pull on ahead. And this is perfect for them at this point now as Taurus can come in. They can pull off this pincer movement. Just another frag to be added to the tally. Taurus doing so much work for the T side at this point as Nickelback, he can try and hold off towards short, but realistically, his position is going to be such a tough one. Pound going to be pushing on out. The headshot to be found. That was a frag that really needed to go in favour of the CT side. As well, I mentioned a little right from the get-go. I wanted to see the AWP for the CT side. Well, that's the last card they have to play. He's in a 1v3. The bomb is down.
Yeah, right now he needs to save this. I mean, I can't see the CT money, but it's obviously not going to be too good. If you save the AWP, they can force around this. It just depends on what their decision is. Do they want to try and get rounds on the board already? Do they feel like VwS 6 rounds is too many? They want to get some rounds back for them. Do they opt to force and try and make it 6-1, try and mount their comeback that way? Or do they just accept defeat and go for another save into this round and try and play from 7-0? I mean, in their position, I'll probably force just because it's a different change of pace. You've seen what's happened when they have the rifles. They still don't get the trades going in their favor. So maybe with pistols might change dynamics that way. Maybe they might play a little bit more aggressive and try and find the first frag in their favor. Have little peek towards B. I mean, when he peeks towards mid, he just gets flashed off the angle. If he goes towards connector, they just get smoked off. So he needs to find the entries and the openings onto the site that way.
What I'm intrigued about now is, the nurture, or the nature, should we say, of this pause, because if this
I was about to say, a pause needs to come in right now, I feel.
Yeah, we have still got ourselves a pause. Now, that's a given, but the big question is now why, which is something that I'm going to endeavour to investigate real quick, because if it is of a tactical nature, as we touched on right from the get-go, it could be perfect.
Tactical.
And yeah, they have confirmed it is going to be of that tactical pause for the RoX side. Now, again, you have this wealth of knowledge start, so I am curious, especially when you've got a lot of thoughts burning out about these guys. It was a very quick tac pause, so what did they go through?
At this point, they're probably discussing whether or not they want to force. Hooch as well, talking a lot, just trying to whittle out the mistakes that his team has been bringing. Try and maybe calm them down as well. Sometimes it's good for one person to talk and all 4 of the players just to sit and calm and take a breather, just try and reset mentally. Hopefully none of the players are tilted. They have won a map before on Cobblestone, so they are, they haven't lost every single game here. So there is some positivity here so far from their play at the minor. But 5 rifles here in the fast B short play.
And it's just going to be some quick Wholehearted aggression coming out from this T side. They're already out on the site. The smoke's though still going to be sitting down ever so tightly, and that is just a shroud perfectly fit for VwS at this point. It's Kalinka gets the opening pick. It is going to be a response coming from Spacey, but the bomber's already gone down on the CT side. They're failing to hold things off. This is disastrous for them in terms of their B site hold. It's tough and little. And well, what are they doing? That sums it up absolutely perfectly. They have an AWP. They have themselves a rifle. But what is their game plan here? Is Little just looking like he wants to creep one out through the smoke, and well, he's just walking into the crosshair of Lucky.
They're playing like it's a pug. Honestly, there's just no decision from the CTs there. The smokes come in. Do you opt for the retake? Do you play passive, wait for the retake, or do you try and hold the site? And unfortunately for RoX, they can't quite decide. And those players, they stay far, far too close to the site. I mean, go back towards Hell. Have a boost on Hell. Try and find some early frags that way. Instead, you've got players staying in water for some reason. They stay alive. Sorry, they stay there. They do not stay alive. They fall. No trade frags from the CT side, and the round just unfolds that way as the frags all go in favor of VwS. And the one frag that the CTs do get, it is instantly traded out from VwS. So good T-side play from them. I mentioned before that, you know, when they know that utility isn't strong on the CT side, you can play fast, expect no Molotovs, and there was nothing really to counteract that fast push from B.
Well, one thing is for certain. VwS, they have themselves an island, or one that is ripe for their picking at this point, as they have themselves that 7-0 lead, and already, at least in this round, any damage RoX are trying to inflict, well, bit by bit, it's already coming back to haunt them. So at least it's going to be a bit of a trade, a little close range up against Kalinka will punish him, leaving them at the 4v4. It does get that rifle, but that rifle, yet again, quick to be traded back.
Yeah, and actually, even though these players have armor, they still are only a half buy and opting in for the buy into the next round. So, oh, actually, huge step from Connector. Catches that player off guard. Taurus is shot in the back. It's the 3 versus 3. This is now winnable for the CT side. I was mentioning before, they weren't really opting into this round to win it. And more so just, you know, try and take some guns out of their hands. But at the same time, the T economy is built up so much. They are 7-0 in the lead. And the rounds that they've been winning, they've been very dominant. It hasn't been 1 versus 1. So you just see constantly so many players alive for the T side. And this frag from Hooch, if he can hold on to the B bomb site, this could salvage the round.
It would be perfect if he could, but unfortunately just getting away with that with a rifle and that sort of angle, just considering how far Hal's able to push. He knew how important it was.
Yeah, complete distraught on his face, and the round does unfold. They lose that one. 3 versus 3 ends in a 3-player surviving story for VwS, and you saw Hooch there. He was not happy dying there. He realized as soon as he died, that was, you know, the chance of that round being won for his team completely out of question. 3 is almost 5-4-3-2-1 there.
It's almost rather interesting, you know. Lucky or not quite lucky.
If your best player is 6 for 7, that's when you know it's not going too good.
Yeah, for sure. It's rather hilariously lucky. Yeah, been butchering his name a fair bit. Not quite sure where the G is coming from, but I feel like it's almost, you know, it just has to be there. It's now become a figment of his name for me. Either way, jokes aside, this AWP battle, it's been fairly even, but it feels like at the same time they haven't really played too much of a factor in it, to be honest. I've just seen a whole lot of quick and, you know, overall fast rifle picks that have pretty much, you know, set the pace at the start of the round, and from there, a lot of it has just been, okay, we're going to keep on whittling you down, and one by one. Eventually, there's only so much you can do when you're in a 5v3, or even better yet, a 5v2.
Actually, I'm pretty sure it said that Kivik had no AWP kills, so it hasn't really actually been an AWP battle that's taken place. Instead, it's just the rifles that have come out for VwS, and they don't really need the AWP. The picks are coming their way. Anyway, RoX, they are losing the gun battles, they are losing the duels, and the picks constantly go in favor of the Lithuanian side. And the thing is, when you can play 5 rifles, and when you can play 4 rifles and AWP, it just brings more tactical prowess to your lineup. You can play fast, you can play slow, you can play off smoke grenades a lot better with rifles than you can with an AWP. If you want to slow things down, change the pace, you can play with the AWP. And actually, Taurus here, B short does find the first frag, but there's no reply. Take that back. Spicy finds 2, but can't get the 3rd.
Yeah, we'll struggle, but spraying through the smoke nonetheless gets them so much work. Left to be found as Taurus is going to go for that re-smoke over towards the graffiti side of things, just making sure short is going to be covered for the most part, and they do not want to commit for this. VwS, they are feeling their heat, and they are going to be backing off somewhat for now. It looks like we are just seeing them kind of reset up with that utility, get that Molotov down. Going to almost hold off these rotates, but even then Hooch, he's already in this solid spot. He's got the rest of his teammates nearby. RoX, they have some serious potential here to actually pick themselves up around as Hooch finds himself the shoulder shot on towards Taurus.
They need to stay alive here as well. You've got to think that their money is so low as well. Kivik here, slowly pushing through the smoke, maybe catching a player off guard. And Hooch might just walk into his crosshair. He gets sprayed down, but somehow Toff wins it. Toff there to back up his teammate Hooch. Now it's Pound in the 1 versus 3. And he does fall. So, I mentioned before in the previous B take that the CTs had to make a decision. And you saw what happened there. They played far more passive towards Graffiti and Hell. They did not play close towards Water. None of those same frags happened. The T's, they couldn't find the early frags onto B. And what it meant was as soon as the smokes faded, RoX, they could start to peek out, and they found the kills when there were no smokes, was no utility left for the T side, and they found the frags individually.
It certainly does set the tone, albeit still a relatively bleak one for RoX so far. They have to make sure this round goes in their favour. If they don't, we're looking at a reset, which could be just so much more painful. As already we do see a little on the AWP, and I actually find it rather interesting how the AWP build has been almost a bit of an illusion, per se, because as much as, you know, arguably balance is not perhaps the most choice of words, it does set things up. The push is going to be rolling on out, as you say. There is no one there to hold things off, but they are diving around through the smoke. But the T side, they've gone so aggressive. They've dived straight through Graffiti. They're pushing in already from behind. Are the CT side even going to have any idea what's going on? Toph tries to respond, finds himself one, but it's only going to be one, and that is going to be troubling. And the rest of his team, well, they're in towards B in the hold. Little leads a hit there.
Has to hit the shots if there's any chance of RoX winning that round, and you saw what happened. I mentioned before, the trade game is so strong for this VwS side, and as soon as that player, Toph I believe it was, that got the frag into CT, gets the frag but got instantly traded. And that's what you want to see from this Lithuanian side as they find the trades, and now it's a 2 versus 3. Kit and a Molotov, but no flash, so they are going to peek into the crosshairs, and no blinded players will mean that the frag goes in favor of Kivik. Players now sprays down one. He knows where both the players are now. Does he expect to play close side? No, he doesn't. Pulls out the smoke grenade, but will fall. The reset comes out for the Lithuanian side, and that was such a good play. I mentioned that without the AWP, it means you can play a lot better around the smokes, and the smokes come out towards B, and there's just so much more you can do tactically with those smokes, and such a smart play to run through that bridge smoke, try and get into CT Hell, and they did just that, and the trade came out CT. They get onto A, they trade, they didn't even trade frag Little, whiffing 2 of his AWP shots, so once the A site was theirs, they win the retake.
It's almost a weird way things are, you know, taking place at this point. You know, what we expect and what we see, 2 very different things. VwS exceptionally dominant and pulling out some pretty fun strats as well, and you know, the perfect time to do it, frankly, but for RoX, because now they have been shut down. They've got themselves a bit of an odd job of a buy. They have to step up in this round, at least try and do some damage, and at the end of the day, play for whatever they can. They're playing for scraps.
They've just got to hope that they can do the same back on their T side. The problem is I just don't really see it happening because Little has no support, holding such an aggressive angle in toilets, and isn't watching anything else apart from the entry to toilets and the stairs there. That player catches him off guard. Not, you know, seen in his scope, and unfortunate scenes for there for him. Another frag goes in for the T's. Nickelback tries to get the refrag. He does, but does fall instantly to Kalinka's AWP, and the 1 versus 4 RoX, they just have nothing to show.
The most brutal part for me about that round was the fact that that AWP, off the back of that push from Little, was actually used against them. So RoX pretty much causing themselves their own issues at this point. They try and invest, they try to make the best of things, and it's rough, but we're only at a 10-1 scoreline. Would be nice to see at least them play for an 11-4. That's probably, you know, I'd look at this and go, the best case scenario, but that's going to be tough.
Yeah, we saw what happened yesterday when, on that T side yesterday, which was abysmal. They only managed to get 3 rounds.
We can dream, Sluts.
Yeah, it's just, you look at the players, and it's just, where are they? Because there's those players that you see here, Hooch and Spacey, that previously on Gambit, Little, that had such a good previous round of performance, they're not in the server right now. I don't know who these players are with the same names. And with the frag will be whiffed. The shot does not connect, but Kalinka there sprays down one, and Kalinka sprays down another one. Kivik with his Tech 9 takes another frag. Little on his own, and they are going to be playing for the 11-4. And if it does go 11-4, they try and win that T-pistol, but that T-pistol is 1, a lot to ask for, and 2, trying to find another 3 rounds if you're RoX right now. I mean, I just don't see it happening. Individually, VwS are outplaying them. Tactically, VwS are outplaying them. I mean, you can see the chemistry as well. That round where they did go CT towards B, you saw the chemistry and how much these guys have been playing together. I mentioned before, domestically, they have been a team for a while, and the bomb was going towards B, and as soon as those 2 players got into CT, the instant call was made, and you saw those players just do a 180, turn around, and they ran towards A instead. And they got the bomb down on A. So just great, on-the-fly, mid-round calls coming out from VwS, and you don't expect that from the inexperienced players.
Yeah, it's just a really kind of almost caught me off guard the way, RoX have been hit by this, I don't want to say turn of bad luck, because it's
Definitely not bad luck.
It's not bad luck,
play.
It's just the way, it's bad play, to be blunt about things. And, I look at these guys and go, these guys should probably be the favourites in their group, just with the sheer amount of experience and knowledge they have. And yes, they're a team effectively forged for this qualifier, but there needs to be something more. And, well, this is probably one of their last opportunities to really show it now. As we're in our 13th round, they are on that bye. Let's see what they can deliver, as it is going to be Pound just to fire off a couple, trying to see what will come his direction. Not going to be getting anything just yet, though.
Yeah, no early frags found, but it's map control that's coming up for the T's. They are slowly pushing back the CT defense, and actually Kalenka flashing himself through the smoke finds Toff. Gonna be a little on his own, and look at this angle he's holding. This is a 1 for done position. Doesn't even get one, just falls down with the early rotation from Pooch. Can he get the frag? Yes, he can. But he's only 26 HP, so he's gonna be low HP where he does rotate too. But VwS, if they slow this down now and play it together and play the trade game, they should take this round. Just play nice and slow. Don't play too overly aggressive. Don't play the 1 versus 1s. Make sure you play with a teammate. Try and play in pairs of 2s. And just try and get the refrag and win based off the numbers.
Nostalgia reading the round like it's textbook. The one curveball could be Hooch over towards Long, but, well, it's a pretty odd-shaped curveball if I've ever seen one before, because he's unable to also achieve too much for the team. Just gets quickly picked off one by one, and VwS, they are vultures out looking for a meal, and nothing seems to satisfy them at this point. They are just going to constantly keep on pushing. They're on the site. This retake is going to be difficult, but we are going to see 2 quick frags to be claimed. But in the swing towards that T side towards the end, the trading game going to be on point, and it's going to be a 12-1.5 secured at least. And you look at RoX's economy; they've just been ground out of this one so far. We're in our 14th round. Yep. This is tough.
I want to see some calculated aggression from the CT side. A double push long with those UMPs. I mean, yes, it's long, potentially long angles from playground, but they have to play aggressive somewhere. Maybe try and take control of connector. If you have control of connector, it's a lot harder for the T's to attack the sites without any splits. No split from B short, no split from the middle area from connector. So maybe try and get control of that, but instead they're playing passive again, and passivity hasn't worked. Actually, take that back. Actually push towards B short, and that will gather a lot of information. As long as that player that is pushing B doesn't fall too early. And he will. So all that map pressure is completely gone. RoX now, they know it's a default, but Nickel back there playing aggressive towards connector finds the first, and hopefully now, VwS, understanding the situation, will go back towards B.
One thing worth remembering is, as much as there was aggression on one point of the map, there was a lot of passive control spread across the other. So you were right for the most part, and that is something to really remember at this point, because you have to look towards these teams right now and go, okay, RoX, they're getting themselves a pick here and there. It's off with the pistol, goes up close and personal, brings the fight to the T side. But now we're seeing a bit of a bunch-up effect. Nickel, he's over towards this barrel spot now. If he just sits tight, doesn't face.
Yeah, he needs to hide.
Just holds the angle.
Does not want to face here. Does not want to face here. Wants to... Oh, he's going to wide face, but no one's looking at his position. If he does catch the player off guard, Pound will fall down with one. But what's he doing? Anyway, I don't even know what to say about that. That is very, very strange play coming out. But Spursy finds 2 from the off angle. Maybe that player's just baiting. He does win that 1 versus 1. Potentially, his teammate just baiting for Spursy. He knew in his head that he was about to win that 1 versus 3. He just knew it was coming. Spursy finds 2 from the off angle in water. Catches those 2 T players off guard. And then does win that spray battle in the 1 versus 1. But VwS, they don't really care. They've already got 12 rounds on their T side. If they make it 13-2, that could be the final nail in the coffin.
The greatest part for me about that round was not the way things unfolded, but it was the sheer unfiltered reaction from you, because some people really forget just how raw some of this stuff is, and when you look at that sort of decision being made, it's crazy. And well, Little at least gets the opening pick in this round to bring us back to the present. How far are they willing to go with it? As it looks like they are going to be falling back somewhat, and VwS having to kind of rekindle their spirit somewhat, as they are going to be looking to secure this 13-2. They do have a fight on their hands for this last round.
Oh, they have a massive, massive fight on their hands. They do find the first frag though, and that will make it a lot harder for the T's, but you need to just not give away your lives, and that's what happened. Toff is caught off guard again by the push into toilets. Let's look with the refrag, does take time. Luki, but to be Kivik there, pushing in, gets the refrag, the 3 versus 3. This is going to be favouring the T's, because look, there's no one playing on the A side currently, only one player in toilets. And that player in toilets, he needs to find the rotation frag, and he will. The bomb does go down. It's always Hooch that has the great rotation here, the most experienced player here. Throws away his life. 2 versus 2, and this player is going to hear them leaving B, so if his teammate can grab the bomb and try and get back to B, Pound now needs to find this frag onto Nickelback. This frag will determine the round. Whoever wins this 1 versus 1.
He's got the positional advantage as well. Nickel has no idea what is coming for him. He's been played just like a book at this point. He's flashing towards Monster. He thinks he needs to go for a different information peek of his own. But Pound, he's playing this one so perfectly. He's not going to give away his position to Nickel. He knows that his teammate is pushing up towards the A site. So the best bet for him, get himself behind Spazium from there. He can take him down. They get the site. And it's going to be just a simple 2v1.
A strange round. Imagine if you're Spazy right now. Watch his face right now. Watch his face. He's like, what the hell has just happened there? How am I dead? Look, even his teammates like, sorry, mate. I have no clue what just happened there. Somehow, some way, that player has managed to worm himself through the whole of B site, through to CT and behind Spazy and takes him down. Nickelback now in panic, has no idea what's going on. Needs to find these 2 frags early, but they can be anywhere. Well, they are playing on site, they are playing close, and the frag there, that frag there had to happen. Unfortunately not, Pound will find that frag. It'll be 13-2, and very, very strange players going for RoX.
It certainly feels like RoX have been dragged kicking and screaming through this first half. Is there a silver lining, or more aptly put, maybe a bit of a bronze one, if that?
Sorry, what was that?
I'm kind of referring to, is there actually a silver lining for this T-side at all? I mean, it's a very far-fetched push. Is there any sense of positivity? Anything? I'm looking at a pretty big bucket right now, and I don't see much.
It was a 12-3 yesterday. 12-3 yesterday. Hooch, I believe Hooch was calling for Gambit because he got replaced by Zeus. So hopefully, Hooch with the experiences can make some great calls because he's going to be worth his weight in gold in terms of his IGLing if they want any chance of making it through the minor groups here. 13-2, 1 minute 30 on the clock. We've seen the same play coming out from Roxy on their T side, and here comes the B push.
And there's going to begin to be a bit of a man-up aggression. Little straight through the smoke, finds someone on towards Lucky, but it's going to be 3 quick frags to be found by the CT side, looking for a 4th. Hooch is going to respond, but even then it's a 3v2 at this point. The numbers advantage sways towards the CT side, and look at Connector. Toff, he's going to hold the angle. He's spamming away with the clock, but it doesn't quite land them. Kivik gets the push on out, over towards short, and just another headshot to add to the tally. Great work coming out.
So, I feel quite bad now. I mentioned that I didn't think VwS had it in them, but for somehow, some way, they have such a good fight inside of them. They don't give up. They have such good firepower as well. I mean, I mentioned yesterday that it was a 16-6 in favor of VwS, and today we're currently looking at 14-2. I mean, if you've betted right now, if you put a bet on VwS, you must be a very, very happy man because, honestly, I did not expect this.
I'm not quite sure what to even say at this one. It is going to be a bit of a quick flurry of frags at that coming in for this T-side, and they do have themselves... No, they had a point of play. But just as we begin to even delve into it, it gets completely ripped away from them. RoX, well, the hopes at this point are going to be on Hooch. Got himself a Deagle. Of course, got that Kevlar and helmet, but he's in a 1v3, and he does get himself some information where Kovic is going to be heading. Most importantly, going to get that bomb, and if he heads down towards B, there is no one there, but then you have to remember Taurus is rotating. Yeah. And also that retake, I think.
As well, hasn't picked up any rifles unless he can find one on the floor and try and scavenge one of those. Words being mounded up. Like this mounded up T-side I'm looking at right now. Hooch does smoke off, and that will indicate where he is. Thing is, with the CTs, they're so far away, but they don't really care. It's 14-2. They can take risks, and they did go for the risky stack towards A, but they can retake together. They have one kit. Smoke. So once they realize where Hooch is, he needs to find some incredible frags. How and won't find anything. 15-2. My goodness.
Unfortunate for him, though, the best case for him would have been a single player pushes through connector. He can then catch him off guard, pick up the rifle, and then from there try and work him through short on monster. He has a choice to make, but just that double push from connector really shuts him down because with the Deagle, unless we see another Ramzik B-side cash play, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, that Ramzik Deagle play yesterday was unreal, but at the same time, that was also at fault of the CTs as well. The team damage that came out in the earlier part of that round was the reason for that. But I mean, yeah, long story short, I don't see this going to, much else. It's going to be potentially the same repeat of the same result we saw yesterday. Potentially a 16-2. But currently looking at 15-2, so there is some hope left. The server is still live, so unless something crazy can happen, I do believe VwS will take this, and now Kivik getting aggressive. We'll hear the steps and just spray it. I know one player. Little will survive with 78 HP, but Kivik, he heard the steps. Spares you now. This pistol will face into his crosshair. Sprays him down. Wants to spray a little bit. Does fall.
Looking like trading is going to be the buzzword that sits with these teams at the moment, as it is just going to be that numbers flinging backwards and forwards, but it leads us to this point that we find ourselves situated in now. RoX, a man disadvantage. Pound is going to be on 16 HP, and, well, that man disadvantage Swiddles even further. Kalinka just another to add to his tallies on towards Hooch. Little on top. The last two remaining. And not quite literally the hopes of RoX on their shoulders.
Yeah. And you can already see that headsets are off and potentially they're off as well. Out the minor if they do lose this round. And unless Toff can find something crazy in them and try and get a 1 versus 4. And then, you know, just casually 12 rounds after that. No, he won't. He does fall. Taurus will take him down, and even though he does get the dink in, he won't fall. So Taurus wins that 1 versus 1. 16-2 GG.
I think that's such an interesting result, though. Just even moving away from the scoreline, GG's already been called, and by all means, solid play coming in from there. But you have to look at the way this group is now. Look at just the sheer fact that effectively a team who was one of the favourites for that group just been knocked out in, I don't want to say easy fashion, but it didn't really feel like it.
In terms of play, what I just witnessed there, they are definitely very far from favourites. In terms of the names on the scoreboard and whatnot, looking at Hooch and Little, Spacey, all those names, but, in the CIS region, very, very famous and strong players, but today they did not bring their A game against 10. We saw a very, very bad game for all of them.
Yeah, they do find themselves getting punished, of course, off the back of that, and well, now this leads us over to Group B. Now, of course, we have got Tengri versus Quantum Ballet to Fire coming up very, very soon. That will be our Group B decider matchup. Of course, that does mean that our Group A standings have been finalized, and means that we know 100% that it is going to be all in. And aforementioned VwS and Group B on the side of things, it comes down to Spirit and who will be joining them. Off the cuff, who are you expecting, Snod?
Which matchup is it later? Sorry, let me go take a look.
The Tengri versus QBF matchup, the second Group B decider.
Tengri won it last time on Mirage 16-14, didn't they? But that was still 16-14, such a close game, and that was through the individual players such as Ramzik and so forth as Zorb. Personally, I think Tengri have a bit more firepower in them. Ramzik and Fitch being such a strong player, so personally, I'm expecting Tengri to be a very close matchup.
Thank you for your words, Snod, of course. Been myself late, and Snod joining me for this one, but we're going to be right back with you very, very soon. But in the meantime,
ELEAGUE Bets. Ставки онлайн для всех поклонников киберспорта.
E-Gaming Bets, online betting for every esports fan. Dota 2 and Hearthstone, CSGO and Overwatch, StarCraft 2, the choice is yours. Express bets for multiple matches or live bets on the game you are watching right now. Know your way around Dota 2, make a prediction for picks and bans. Playing CSGO, guess the number of rounds in a certain match. Daily quests for all participants and all the best choice of payment systems. More than 600,000 users have already made their bets on the spectacular matches since 2011. EGB.com. You know for sure who's gonna win.